My name is Aisha Abubakar. My children are 7. I deal with my children inside room, they sleep. I will come see people in the room, come outside. Wait till I will say water don't enter house.
Water pack everything. Went to bed in night. Before I wake up, I'll see myself inside water, even my mattress, everything inside water.
Abin da ya faru ruwa ne ya kwashe mu. Yana kwashe mu muna matsowa muna shiga gidan mutane makautan mu na kusa da mu.
As I'm telling you now, the water level in my own house now is still at the lintel level.
Since that 2012, 2017, 2018, 2019, we always have this flooding, but it's not as what we are experiencing now.
This one on my window here, it go stop. This one go up. See my shop, all go this year.
We sabi swim, no be say we no sabi swim. That water when it come, snake follow the water come. Everybody dey fear to enter am. And the thing when cause our load, we come labor inside.
For centuries, civilizations have looked upon the planetary biosphere through familial lenses, calling her Mother Nature. A mother, benevolent, amenable, quick to forgive, and forge ahead. Today, it seems she has refused to forget, to forge ahead. Past transgressions have been brought to remembrance as vast swathes of land are laid waste.
My name is Alexander O. Amana. I'm a father, married with 4 children. Yes, I'm a civil servant. When the sea became much, we don't know where to go again. We went to the primary school. I mean, the headmistress here to say, Madam, you can help us with one of the classroom. In fact, we are the founder of the camp here.
Almost 1 week now we are here in this primary school.
The room where they sleep here, no window, no door. We no get light. Water sef we no see. We go buy water for outside before we use am. I dey think like say no be woman be I be because I go gbeshi, headache dey my neck, and my children they no see school again because I no fit train them again.
This is the house there, and others, my colleagues also. The flood came in about a month, 2 weeks now. When it started come, there's no other alternative than to locate a neighbor house to save some things. But when it became much now, all of us within this environment, where you can see the water, we moved to the primary school. As a person, going to struggle for my property in the district, it was that I fell from the window.
The scale of human suffering is immense. The burden, backbreaking for the more vulnerable. Women, children, youth, persons with disabilities, elderly people, farmers, and grassroots communities.
Kayan da abin da ya bace namu duka gaba ɗaya kayan su ya bata. Jirage babu duka jiragen anguwanmu tun daga can ƙasa har nan sama babu jirage. Na yi bayani ran nan. Yanzu maza ma suna nan tudu, yara ma sun koma tudu, suna nan sun je kwatan kasuwa ran kasuwa suna alaro. Babu abinci.
One of my sister, he don't die during this water. He don't die. He no sabi swim. As he goes enter, they no quick no say he don't enter. Before they see him, he don't die. Her name na Amina Musa.
The fruits where they mature, cassava, the garden one, even though the one where I know planting day, gari, this corn, tomatoes, mangi, everything. She don't spoil. All everything is inside the water, and because the water don't even climb the container.
A lot of families have lost their farm produce. Their farmlands have been washed away. Where are they going to start from? how are they going to start? How can the government come in to support them? We see a situation whereby by next year we're going to have a huge challenge of food insecurity in this country.
The reality in the heart of Lokoja, north-central Nigeria. A torrential outpour has swallowed, like a ravenous whale, whole story buildings. Farms and the harvests they promised have become new seabeds.
Climate change, to many people, is an abstract word, and a lot of people don't understand what climate change is, especially the people at the grassroots. So what is actually climate change? We're talking about here about weather variations, and these weather variations has come with a lot of impact, ranging from disasters to so many things, including flooding, which we're experiencing in Nigeria and across the world today.
There's deep ignorance as regards the connection between our current situation and climate change, even among the educated. Maybe that's informed why our general attitude and reaction towards it at all levels has not been as, it's not where it should be. It has been minimal.
A complete local government like Ibaji, who is underwater now. And incidentally, Ibaji happens to be the highest producer of rice. And even Kogi Kotonkari for local government. This is another place where there's a place we call Girinyadia, where you have highest producer of rice. And the same thing, the whole place was underwater.
For instance, in Borno, for the first time we have flooding. It has never happened. And a lot of houses were made, a lot of farmlands were washed away. That is a desert-prone area. So it means that climate change is here with us, and we need to begin to build resilience of community.
So for example, in Kogi State, we were there before the flooding happened. We were there for anticipatory alert. It's a form of intervention that envisage that kind of flood will come. We were there to support the people, to tell them that this flood, by prediction that we'll be hearing from NIMET, will come. But before it comes, begin to prepare and start living.
No, as you didn't talk, we no hear because we no go school. We no get anything to hear. Our own, no as water they come, we don't know anything about water they come.
What is the cause of the flood? We have two causes. One, the rainfall of year, which is the climate change you talk about. Secondly, the release or discharge of water from the dams.
In Benue State, because of the climate-induced conflict, we have worked extensively with several communities, working with the in-school and out-of-school youths, building their capacity, building their resilience, but also in communities where a lot of flood are, we are trying to teach them how to be able to move away from those communities, but also looking at how can they themselves build their resilience in those communities. Because if you build a house on waterways, of course, what are you looking for? Naturally, you are looking for a disaster to happen.
If you ask people to leave your area, there's going to be water. Leave into where? Is the government doing enough to provide alternative places for people to really move away from those hazard areas to where they are safe? The answer is obvious to all of us.
Without security and proper care, the situation becomes doubly charged for affected people.
For the security is zero. But when you keep almost over 100, there's no single police, no provision of security, no medical care. What we see here by the state SEMA is to bring about 3 of their staff here. The saddening thing is that they came here and brought one rubber who contained about 3 basins of water for a whole camp who is over 100.
Some they go pity us, bring food for us. They round us, we go manage and
in every humanitarian disaster, the first thing is to quickly do an assessment of the needs. And what are the needs? Food, shelter, clothing, and medicals. So government must ensure they make provision for where people can stay temporarily is very important. Government must provide them with food. Government must ensure that they are medical, because if you don't provide medical need to where they are relocating to as temporary abode, there will likely be the diseases, cholera, and other forms of. Government must also provide protection for children, protection for women, because if you are facing a disaster and you are also now being sexually exploited or being abused, is double tragedy. So government must ensure that various transit camps that will be provided, the people that are going to be there, women, children, and giving adequate protection. And of course, government must also consider persons with disability, because most of the time we plan and forget them.
That's why we've been crying on to the federal government that the moment we get this river dredged, both River Niger and Benue, if you can dredge it, definitely it will give room for more water to pass than what we have currently.
Nigeria has so much dams in the country. For instance, there's Kashimbila Dam in Benue State. That dam, if it is completed, and it's a huge dam, most of this flooding that we're talking about, if water is being released from Cameroon, from the Lado Dam, that dam will be able to absorb it. So majority of the people that are affected by this flood will not, because at least that dam will be able to contain it. And we have so many dams that are not functioning.
And in our own little way in the state, we are currently constructing something we call a beach embankment. The embankment is to serve as a wall, a retaining wall for water to cross over to spread over the roads. So that by the time we have it, the embankment across the coastal to hit, there's a place they call Natako. If we have it hit that place, definitely it will reduce the menace that we are currently facing in the state.
And while considerable effort is being made to educate the people about the life-changing impacts of climate change itself is doing a lot of teaching, albeit with bitter lessons.
So my appeal to the government is that we have been facing all this always for the past 7 years. If they can even have mercy on us, to even relocate us and even give even pieces of land, 50 by 50, we can continue to develop even on our own. To acquire land here now is not a small thing.
Da ya halaka gwamnati za ta taimaka muna ko da mu samu mu biya bashi, saboda yanzu ga matsala ta zo suna bin mu nan kudin lamfar da mun ka anta gashi suna bin mu, su ma sun ga halin da muke ciki amma ba su tausaya muna ba, suna nan suna yawo sun ce sai mu ba su kudin ku. Akan haka ma yanzu ni ina zaune nan ma ina kwana nawa ban fita waje ba, ina zaune ina nan ina roƙon Allah ya ba su hankuri. Amma maganar jiragen maza da ya ɓace na yi magana kwanaki a ran da mun ka zo don guda 3 ya rage cikin jirgi 100.
Even my son here, you know even longer go to school because there's no money. It's the last time I never even pay. There's no money to go to school again. I need government to help me.
I know it's capital intensive by relocating these people, and most of them will not want to relocate because of the attachment to the ancestral lands and the cultural effects that they have on their communities already. So most of them will not want to move. But of course, when you give them the information about the consequences of how it are going to affect them and their families, I am sure that some of them will be able to move. So it's all about awareness, it's all about sensitization, and it's all about producing this in the languages that people will understand.
State government also working with other health starters. They are beginning to work around to see, in conjunction with the Ministry of Environment, to do fumigation of the environment for the post-effect of the flood, because even on the national body, we are seeing gradual outbreak of cholera, because a couple of those suckways has been removed. Even some burial ground, the flood got to some burial ground. So the water has been contaminated. Some boreholes in some houses are gone. And that is why the state government also make available a water purifier, because even our own water, the state government water service is also submerged. And NEMA sent a water purifier to us. We also, from the state, got water treated equipment and ensure we're being able to take water to people, purify the water for the people's usage.
For us in the state, we believe that this is something the state alone, going by our budget, is not something we can cope with. And so that's why we are crying, at all time, crying out to federal government, international donors, well-spirited persons in the society, and even non-governmental organizations to always come to our aid.
In our intervention, what I was talking about in the anticipatory alert that we implemented, we helped Kogi State government to develop contingency plan. Most states in Nigeria do not have plan for this kind of situation. So what the government need to do now is to activate that plan, because in the contingency plan, you envisage what will happen, what we need to do. So government should just take that contingency plan, activate it, and begin to implement them.
We really want to see the Stop National taking the lead, because at the federal level, yes, they make policies, but it's not the federal that implement these policies, it's at the grassroots. So how will the states key into this? It requires political will, it requires budgetary allocation and financial support. These are very key. For us, we continue to advocate, especially for the state implementations of these policies, which we have already started. We have worked with the North Central states in trying to also sensitize them about the impact of climate change, but using the gender and climate change policy, action plan, for them to understand. And some of the states have keyed it already. For instance, Niger State are taking that very seriously, and they're developing their own gender action plan on climate change as well.
It is obvious from the experience of some stakeholders that subnational governments across Nigeria need to take a more hands-on approach towards combating climate change. The people, especially the vulnerable populations of women and youths, are however forced to adopt a heels-first approach by fleeing the communities that they once called home.